Hey, everybody. We are going to be getting started here in just a few minutes. Welcome. We're really excited. We're streaming on Facebook. We're streaming in the Dr. Marketing Blueprint Facebook group. We are on YouTube and we are on LinkedIn. Coming at you on a lot of different angles today, and I'm really excited to talk about how you can host a webinar in your practice. So, we're going to just hang tight here for just a few minutes and then we will kick things off. All right. So we are going to go ahead and get started today. So, our webinar today is actually all about hosting webinars and what are some different ways that you can use webinars to attract more patients at your practice, really elevate you as that go to authority. My name is Lori Warner. I am the co founder of Medical Marketing Wiz and am excited to be here today. We're streaming live not only on our webinar, but we're also live on Facebook. We are live on LinkedIn as well as on YouTube. I do always like to remind folks to stay to the end. I'm going to jam pack a lot of information into about 30 minutes today, but at the end, I have something really special. It's actually not something that we've given away in the past. So stick with me to the end, and I will tell you how to take advantage of this little gift that we have for everybody for attending. So, just to tell you a little bit about Medical Marketing Wiz, one of the things that we are very passionate about here is truly working with the best doctors. I can tell you that all of our clients are extremely, obviously dedicated to their practice, but they offer services that are forward thinking. They are very into patient education. It's near and dear to their heart. They enjoy doing events. They enjoy speaking. They enjoy educating their patients. And so the goal for all of us at Medical Marketing Wiz is really to help our clients become that most sought after and recommended provider in their local area. And webinars have really been, over the last 7 years, a key component to the success of our clients. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to share with you some of those insider secrets on what can you do to record your very first webinar and then hopefully make this something that's part of your patient education and marketing for your practice. So, what we're going to talk about first, we're going to talk about why webinars. Why is this such a powerful patient education and marketing tool for your practice? We're going to talk about some of the different ways that you can stream webinars. There's a lot of different options. It can be overwhelming. So, we're going to give you some of the ones that we think are the very best. We're also going to talk about live versus pre recorded. And what is best for you in your specific situation. And especially if you're just starting out, what may be the best avenue to go. We're going to throw out a few topic ideas to kind of get your gears turning on, what are some of the things that you can think about that would be a great webinar topic for your local area. And then we'll dive into how to set your webinar up, how to make it evergreen, and then lastly, what are the ways that you can get that webinar out so that more patients can find it, view it, and ultimately book appointments at your practice? So let's just talk first about What are some of the benefits of webinars? I mentioned at the beginning, I'm a big fan of anything related to patient education, and a lot of our clients love doing in-office events. And I am a big proponent of those. They're a very high converting marketing activity. The problem is sometimes with events, you're going to be limited to the people that are only available that day and time that you host your event. Whereas a webinar allows you to reach hundreds of potential patients all at the same time. I can tell you, I do webinars on a regular basis, and it's one of the things that's really helped Medical Marketing Wiz grow. So I can tell you from firsthand that this absolutely works. And it ultimately saves you time because you're able to reach a lot of people all at the same time. It also elevates you as a thought leader and helps people really get to know your expertise. And they can do this without even leaving their home. So, this is particularly important if you treat patients for conditions that tend to be a little bit sensitive in nature. Things like maybe hormone imbalance or certain medical conditions that they have, such as vaginal atrophy or erectile dysfunction. I mean, nobody wants to go to an event or an in-person event that's about those sorts of things. So this is nice to kind of give people an educational tool that they can watch in the privacy of their own home. And they can also ask questions privately. And then also, people are able to watch online versus having to come into your office. And nowadays, with all of the different mobile technologies out there, it's super easy for people to attend. They don't necessarily have to have a computer, they can do it right on their phone. And these webinars can achieve not just patient acquisition and new patient appointments, but they can achieve really more than that. So, first off, branding and visibility in your local community and honestly, even nationally. So it helps get your name out there. It brands you as an expert. It gets you visible both online and locally. And then it provides that educational tool. You will get immediate sales and ROI from your webinar. So typically, if you have a strong call to action at the end, you're going to get people that will book appointments. But then it also gives you a very lucrative future pipeline. So these people now have gotten to know you. They know a little bit about your expertise. Maybe they're not 100% ready for you to solve their problem immediately, but you will remain top of mind with them when it comes to the point that they do want to make an appointment because you've taken that step to educate them. And in fact, 73% of marketers say that webinars are a extremely effective source of high quality leads. The only thing that beats it out is in-person events at 77%. So this is a tool that's not going away. It's something that has been proven across not only healthcare, but multiple other businesses to be a very, very great way to educate and qualify your leads. So I want to show you a couple of different formats because before you decide to go forward with the webinar, you want to think about what is the best way that kind of suits your comfort level. I can tell you for me personally, I like the PowerPoint format. I like show and tell. I like to be able to have slides that kind of demonstrate what I'm talking about. Not everybody is comfortable in that format. So you can also do more of an interview style. So I want to show you a couple of examples. I'm first going to show you more of an interview style. And this is one of our clients, Dr. Holly Miller, and she recently got trained on a new surgical technique to remove uterine fibroids. And so she wanted to do a webinar about it. And we decided to not only make it a webinar, but we made it more of kind of an interview that we multi-purposed into a podcast episode. So let you take a look at it and kind of get a feel for how this interview format works.
Today, Dr. Holly Miller will tell us all about new technology for fibroids in Tackle the Fibroid, Protect the Uterus. Welcome to Top Docs. I'm Maggie McKay. Dr. Miller, thank you so much for being here today. I have a lot of questions, but first, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, Maggie. Thank you for having me today. I am Dr. Holly Miller, a board-certified obstetrician gynecologist, and I practice in the beautiful town of Naples, Florida.
Oh, beautiful. That's where my brother lives. It is beautiful.
All right. So you sort of get the idea of how that sort of works. So it's more of an interview. There's a professional host that interviews and asks questions. And so this is something where you can come up with what the questions are going to be before, be very prepared, but it's more of a conversation sort of format. And what's nice about that is you can strip the audio, and then that can be multi-purpose into a podcast episode, which I'm actually going to talk to you about in a minute. Now, I want to go back and talk to you about this other kind of format, which is what I'm doing today, more of a PowerPoint sort of format. So let me show you an example of this. Is a client of ours that has the Mona Lisa Touch Laser, and we did a webinar for him more with a PowerPoint format. So let me let you check that out.
On one of the newer technologies, I think this is a game-changing technology in terms of what we offer. And it is non-hormonal. This is the Mona Lisa Touch, which is utilized for...
So you sort of get the idea. Doctor up in the corner, slides, going through and kind of using more of a show and tell format. So that's another very common way of doing it. So wanted to kind of give you guys a feel for just some different options that you have as far as your format goes. Totally up to you on what you prefer. So once you sort of decide what sort of format that you want to do, now you got to think about, okay, how am I going to stream this? So a webinar is not just make a video and put it up on YouTube. You really want to have it be a lead generating mechanism. So you need to have some sort of registration page so you know who's actually going to be joining this webinar, and that way it allows you to follow up with them. So there's some different platforms. I put some of the popular ones up here. Zoom webinar. So there's Zoom meeting, and then there's Zoom webinar. I would highly recommend, if you're going to do a webinar, that you use their webinar platform and not their meeting platform. There's several reasons for this, and I can tell you from personal experience, when we first started doing webinars, we did them with our Zoom meetings. And unfortunately, we had people that had their cameras on, and it was very distracting. I actually had one person that was at a hair salon, which, I mean, I was glad she joined the webinar, but again, it was very distracting. You have a harder time controlling what happens to the folks that are actually watching the webinar. Whereas with Zoom webinar, you're going to have yourself, your screen, and then if you have like a co-host, that person can join as well. It also gives you options for landing pages, and then it will automatically remind people to show up to your webinar, so you don't have to worry about the kind of reminder and getting them to show up. Vimeo actually also has a new webinar platform that may be something to look at. And then you can stream your webinar as we are today. We're streaming it on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. So some of these platforms are sophisticated that you're able to not only show up live in a broadcast room like this, but simultaneously you're streaming online, which is going to broaden your reach. Webinar Jam and GoToWebinar are also two pretty popular webinar platforms. And then we actually have our own webinar platform that allows us to pre-record webinars, but also if we choose to, we can stream those on our clients' Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube all at the same time. So it's kind of nice when you have something that allows you that flexibility. So the next thing is I want to talk about doing them live, or do you pre-record them? I've done a lot of webinars, so I can tell you, for me, doing it live, I don't feel like it's a super big deal. Because I've done them a lot. However, it's not for everybody. And I also don't think that if this is maybe the first or second webinar that you've ever done, I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing them live. Now, there are some benefits to doing these things live. So number one, you get, live interaction. It allows people to ask questions. It allows the presenter to have very real-time engagement. So it can make it a little bit more dynamic and engaging, because you can have Q&As, you can have chats, you can run polls and ask for feedback live on a webinar. It also does make it more authentic, because if you mess up, it's live. It's very, it just really makes it real, and it can help build trust in your audience because they know that you're delivering this real time. And then urgency. So because it's on a certain day and time, people do tend to show up. a certain percentage of them. And we'll go over kind of the details with that on how many actually usually show up live. But it does, because it is on a certain day and time, like people feel like, oh gosh, I don't want to miss out. I need to show up to that webinar. And then it does allow you to get immediate feedback too. So it can help you adjust your presentation. So if you're going over something and people are asking questions and what you're saying isn't clear, you can address that live during the webinar. So there are definitely some benefits to doing them live. But again, I personally would probably recommend doing it pre-recorded. It gives you a lot more flexibility. You can do it. Not only is it convenient for you because you can record it whenever's convenient for you, but most people nowadays know there's going to be a recording and they would rather just watch it when it's convenient for them. So if you pre-record it, you can make it on demand so people can watch it. If I want to watch it at 8:00 at night, I can watch it at 8:00 at night. If I want to watch it on the weekend, I can. They don't have to wait for a certain day and time to show up to that webinar. It also gives you some quality control. So when you do a pre-recorded webinar, if there's a certain way that you say something and you don't like how it sounds, you can redo it and you can edit that out. You can also edit out any ums or little mannerisms that you have. So it does result in a much higher quality, I believe, final product. And as I mentioned, you can schedule it when you want. It makes it less stressful, especially if this is your first time doing it. You don't have to freak out about the tech or worry, that something might go wrong, because again, it's pre-recorded. And then the last one I think is actually the most important, is that you want to be doing this with this to be a ever-going tool, patient education tool, so it can become evergreen. So it's a piece of content that you record once, and it can be a tool that can work for you 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. So that is something that I think one of the most valuable things about pre-recording the webinars. A lot of times people ask me this, okay, Lori, how long should this thing be? Honestly, no more than 30 minutes of content. You don't want to take up way too much of people's time. You want to get to the point, but you also want to allow some time for Q&A at the end if people do have questions. So I would plan for about 30 minutes of content. And if you have more content than that, maybe come up with a 2-part series so that each of those is 30 minutes or less. Some different topic ideas, and we could probably have a whole webinar just on webinar topic ideas, but I wanted to throw out some of them that we see to be very successful, at least with the clients we work with. So women's intimate health. So if you have a device or treatment related to that, urinary incontinence, infertility, weight management, gut health, anything related to menopause or hormones, I feel like is a great topic. People always want to know about that. How to fix your heavy period, any kind of functional medicine, integrative medicine, gut health sort of things, mommy makeovers. A lot of times people want to know about that if you're into aesthetic medicine or plastic surgery, anti-aging, girlfriend's guide to fill in the blank, girlfriend's guide to wellness, girlfriend's guide to anti-aging. And then of course, these men's health topics, right? These men want to know how to treat their conditions as well. And they don't always want to show up and talk to a doctor first or show up at an event. These are things that tend to do very well as far as topics go. So I wanted to give you just a peek at an example registration page. And this one's pretty built out. You can get fancy, you can keep them simple, but the end of the day, you want to be able to collect contact information from the people that are joining. Now, the nice thing is a lot of times some of this stuff can be pre-populated. So simple name, email, and phone number. People are very used to inputting that information in order to register for these things. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. You're not just having people call the office to RSVP or, just scan a QR code and you don't even know where it's going. So you want to make sure that you have a landing page where people can register so that you can let them know what the link is. And then ultimately you can follow up with them after the webinar. The broadcast room. So this is where, if you pre-record it, this is where your video is going to live. Okay. So a nice thing with these is you can embed a call to action, like download your discount schedule an appointment. Maybe it goes to the calendar booking page right on your website. So when you have a page like this, you want to have a call to action that's very clear on what you want them to do next. And then what you want to do to set this up. So I've kind of put together 7 simple steps for you here. So first off, you got to figure out what your theme is going to be, what your topic is going to be for your webinar, and then choose what format do you want. Do you want to do more of a presentation or an interview style? Then you want to pick your format, whether it's Zoom, whether you work with us on this. We're going to collect that registration page and put that together, collecting name, email, and phone number. Little side trick, you can use our good friend ChatGPT if you want to write a really good webinar description. That is a great use of those sorts of AI software. Sometimes you can write out what you think and you put it in there and it'll just spit out a beautifully worded webinar description. You can record the webinar and then you want to edit the video and then embed that video into the broadcast page. And then you want to market the webinar. This is really important. You want at least 4 weeks to market this webinar. If you record the webinar or you set a date and you're only giving yourself 1 week, it's not enough time to get a good amount of people registered. Now, if you pre-record it, you can launch it whenever it's ready. So this number 6 is really more for a live webinar that you're going to do. Or anything that's timely. So for example, sometimes our clients will want to do a webinar because it's a certain health month and they want to launch their webinar in that health month. I would make sure that you're kind of doing like a save the date, hey, this is coming soon, at least 4 weeks before so that people are excited about it and you'll get a lot more people registered. And then lastly is the follow-up. So this again is why it's so important to collect RSVPs. If you just record this and put it up on social media, you don't necessarily know the contact information of the people that are watching it. So you want to make sure that you're collecting that so that afterwards you can set up automated follow-ups that are going to send them the replay, that are going to tell them a little bit more about your practice, and that are going to give them a call to action to book an appointment. So those are things that are really, really key to actually converting these into appointments. And so kind of the way this works is to watch the webinar, they're going to put in their contact info. They're going to be sent the webinar link to either join live or they're going to be sent the recording to watch. Then we're going to send them a series of emails afterwards with something like maybe a free consultation or another time-sensitive call to action. And then the contact information gets emailed to you every time someone registers. So you have your registration page, you have your list of everybody that's watching, everybody that's registered, they watch, and then the follow-up system converts them into appointments. We talked a little bit about this earlier about the importance of creating evergreen content. This is an excellent patient education and attraction tool, having that pre-recorded webinar. So this is something that's available on demand. And I know at least for me, I'm a busy mom. I don't always, I might register for a webinar. I might not be able to get on at that day and time because, something happens in life. I know I'm going to get a replay. So the nice thing is that if I, see your webinar and I want to watch it on Friday night, I can watch it as soon as I register. So you're going to get a lot more people watching it if you make it on demand. I did want to talk a little bit about repurposing your webinars. So you can strip out the audio and you can make it a podcast episode. So we actually have a podcast that is on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, and a bunch of the other major podcast platforms. And our channel is called Top Docs. And so what we'll do is we'll set up a webinar, and this is the interview. The office has provided the video so they can use that video as their webinar, but we strip the audio and that becomes a podcast episode. And so what's cool about this is you can also market this as, hey, Dr. Shahim is also featured on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio. He was interviewed on the Top Docs podcast. Some people prefer to just listen to the audio version of it. So this is a way for you to take one piece of content, your webinar that you recorded, and also make it a podcast episode. Being featured on a podcast also really elevates you as that authority in your local area, and honestly even beyond that. So it's just something to think about, ways that you can kind of repurpose this sort of content into something that can continue to work for you in other ways. So lastly, I'm going to talk a bit about where should you market the webinar. So I've put together a pretty comprehensive list here, and not that you need to do all of these things, but the more of them that you do, the more people that are going to find out about it. So first off, make a flyer about your webinar, even if it's evergreen, and have it at your office. You can make a simple QR code that goes to the registration page. Everybody knows how to scan QR codes nowadays. They would scan their QR code, it goes to the registration page, and boom, they can watch your webinar right away. You also want to make sure that when you are going to market this, you're going to send it to all your patients, but download a fresh patient list from your electronic medical records. And make sure that you load that into your email marketing system and send out an email blast to your entire list. You also can go on Facebook and create an event listing on Facebook, as well as obviously you want to be posting on all your social media channels. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, all of the channels that you have, make sure that you're frequently posting up to 4 weeks before that webinar actually launches. And then sometimes we'll see folks like even change the cover photo on Facebook, like, hey, listen to Dr. Smith's webinar on blah, blah, blah. And the description is the link to where they can register. Also on your website. So give your web developer the URL to your registration page and have your web developer put that on the homepage of your website. Or if it's related to a specific topic, a specific service that you offer, you can also put it on that page. Eventbrite is a free place. Not only put your webinars, but you can also market your events on there. So I will tell you that every single week we get new leads for doctors through Eventbrite. Your Google My Business profile. If you don't know what that is, I have a whole webinar on what that is and how to use it. But this is a way to tell Google for free all about your webinar, and it is linked to your local listing on Google. And then your Chamber of Commerce, a lot of times they will feature on their website. They will send an e-blast out to all of the local business owners in your area. And then also you want to do a press release. So press releases are a way to be able to get this featured on local and national affiliate stations of your NBC, CBS, Fox, etc., as well as local newspapers, radio stations, etc. And those also help your SEO. So it's always a good idea to do press releases. And then also think about, and this honestly could be part of your planning of your webinar as well, is, is there another business or another physician that you could maybe do the webinar with together? And you both invite your entire patient list or your entire contact list. So other doctors, nurse practitioners, PAs, depending on the topic, pelvic floor physical therapists, nutritionists, personal trainers, mental health specialists. I can tell you all of these people love being part of these educational opportunities. It gives them awareness in the area. And then remember, they've got a whole list of people too that may or may not be patients of yours. So it's a great way to collaborate and kind of create a win-win for you and another potential provider. The press releases, this is something we do for all of our clients, not only for their events and their webinars, but their awards that they get and new treatments that they offer at their practice. But press releases are huge. So this is a way, it's basically a press release is an article that's written in third person all about, in this example, about how you now have this webinar on XYZ topic. That gets sent out via press wire. That is picked up by local and national affiliates of, so like your local NBC affiliate station, your local ABC affiliate station. It is on the websites for these news outlets. Sometimes it'll get picked up on different local publications and radio station websites as well. So what happens with press releases is it creates also a backlink back to your practice because your practice is named in this press release. This is huge for search engine optimization and helping Google to position your practice higher. So press releases for webinars are key, but honestly, you want to be doing these on a regular basis for everything that you do. We do this as part of our service with webinars with our clients. So just to give you some examples of kind of like what to expect as far as your webinar conversion and your registrations and so forth. So let me walk you through this here for a second. Of the people that land on your landing page, if your landing page the copy is written well, you can expect to convert about 51% of the people that show up on your landing page will actually register. Of those people, about 40% of them will actually watch your webinar. Okay. Now, so kind of stay with me here. Of those 40% of those people, 22% of them would show up live. The rest of them are going to watch the recording. So again, doing a recording, you're not really losing that much. In fact, a lot of people prefer to just watch a recording. And then you can expect between 5 and 20% of the people that watch the webinar to actually convert into appointments. And this does depend on a lot of factors, like what the topic is, how good of a presenter you are, how good the slides are, how clear the information is, how relevant it is to the person watching, right? So there are some factors related to that, but the best webinars will convert between 5 and 20%. So if we sort of look at this in a hypothetical situation, let's say you have 150 people register for your webinar. Now we know that that means at least 300 people need to land on the landing page. So if you kind of think backwards in your marketing, your goal is to get at least 300 people in this example to land on your landing page. So you may have to show this to 3,000 people to actually get 300 people on the landing page. Okay, so now you've got 150 people that register. And of those, we can expect about 60 of those people to actually watch it. Now, let's say of those 60, 10 of those people book a consult. These are all very, very doable, very, very, very conservative estimates, but I want to give you a kind of a minimum of what to expect. Let's say the average price of the treatment or the value, lifetime value of that patient to your practice is $3,000. So depending on if one person converts or all 10 people convert, you can expect between, in this scenario, $3,000 to $30,000 worth of immediate revenue. Now, we talked about that lucrative future pipeline, right? Because there's 50 people that watched it that didn't book right away. Those people aren't lost. Those people will tend to book, but it just takes them a little bit longer. They need to get into the funnel and get some of the testimonials and some of that follow-up. But you can expect to double to triple these numbers just from the awareness and the long-term pipeline that webinar provides. So again, just hypothetical scenario, we've seen people do well beyond this, but this is a pretty good return on an investment. This is actually one of our clients that purchased a intimate wellness device, and we did a webinar with them right when they launched their device. And within the first 3 days of them launching their webinar, they had over 284 people that watched their webinar. And so that's a pretty darn good list of new leads, especially for a very specific treatment like this. So I did want to talk a little bit about if this is something that you would like help with. Maybe you don't have a team that can put this together for you. We actually can build this entire webinar system for you, and it is 100% turnkey. And so just to give you a feel for how our webinar program works. So we set up a planning call where we meet, we kind of brainstorm ideas. We have slide decks that we have developed along with healthcare providers that are on a lot of different topics. So we help you create your slides. So if you do decide to do more of a PowerPoint format, we will create all of those slides for you. And then, or if you want more of an interview format, we'll meet and we'll kind of talk about what those questions are going to be and set up what the interview topic is going to be so that you're prepared. Then we set up the recording. We do it on a platform very similar to what I'm on today. So it's very user-friendly and easy to use, and it makes you look really, really great. Then we edit the video so we can take out anything that, wasn't perfect so that we can make it extremely professional. And then we provide you with the assets. So you get the MP4 video royalty-free to use for as long as you want in your marketing. We put together the flyer for you. We put together the social media copy and the graphics for you to market your webinar, as well as the email copy. So this is kind of where it would stop if you already have a marketing team that can market your webinar for you. We are giving them everything they need to be successful. And then we do have an option if you want us to do this for you. So you want us to post on social, you want us to do your email blast, you want us to put it on Eventbrite and contact your Chamber of Commerce. We do have that as a service as well. And then ultimately you launch the webinar. So this is something that we can turn around relatively quickly. I would say in under, 3 weeks or so, we can get everything done. So it's something that is exciting for a lot of doctors because they've got, devices and at their office that are collecting dust. They also have, training that they've gone through and they need patience for it. So this can be a great way to really kick those things off quickly. Okay, so I am on my 30-minute time. I've got to practice what I preach here. So we are going to tell you a little bit about the gifts that we have for registering today and joining us on our webinar. So first thing is I'm super proud of our Dr. Social Whiz platform. And basically what this is this is a social media scheduling tool that is sort of like a Hootsuite or Buffer that allows you to schedule all of your social media posts on all of the major channels that are popular with healthcare providers. And it already has content done, literally thousands and thousands of posts that we've created over the last 5 years on a lot of different health conditions. So women's health, men's health, functional medicine, wellness, dermatology, plastic surgery, testimonial posts, and health months. So all the different health months that are out there, motivational quotes. It's literally drag and drop. You can schedule an entire month of social media in under 10 minutes. It's also customizable. So if you want to add your own personal content, you can use the scheduler for that. And it also has a reputation management feature. So it'll allow you to monitor your online reviews and reply to all of your reviews right inside the software with HIPAA compliant responses. So anyone that purchases our webinar package is going to get access to this software for free for 30 days. In addition, everybody that's joined the call today would love to do a strategy call where we can not only talk about a demo of a webinar and talk about some ideas, but we can take a look at some other things with your marketing. So we do a full marketing report. No obligation whatsoever. It's our opportunity to really give you some free advice on your social media, your online reputation. We can brainstorm ideas as far as events and things like that that might be applicable for your practice. So if that's something that you want to do, happy to set that up for you. You can simply email me at lori@medicalmarketingwiz.com, or you can go to our website. There's a button on there where you can schedule a call. Super easy. You'll get access to my calendar. We can pick a day and time, and then we'll meet on Zoom and chat all about that. So with that, that concludes my webinar today. Super thankful that you were able to join. Hopefully this got you excited about the possibilities of webinars. And again, if there's anything we can do to help, please feel free to let us know. Great talking to everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.